when you live this lifestyle, you need to be ready for change. You know that my plans have changed many, many times, and this night they have changed again. Last night, just before I went to sleep, I told you about the plan that we were going to take the bus down to Western Sahara, Moroccan Sahara. But after this night, that wasn't the greatest night in my life. That plan needs to change.
Meet Palle Bo, a digital nomad from Denmark on an epic journey around the world.
My name is Palle Bo, and I'm a long-time radio producer. In 2013, I started planning to become a digital nomad and a full-time traveler. 3 years later, I had sold my house, my car, and all my furniture. And in July 2016, I set out on a quest to visit every country in the world. In this podcast, I'm taking you along on my journey, and I'm sharing my ups and downs and let you listen in to conversations with some interesting people I meet along the way.
This is the Radio Vagabond podcast.
Hi guys, I told you last night before I went to sleep at around 10:30 that the plan was at 9 p.m. today, Sunday night, we would get on a bus and travel the long way down to Dakhla, having an all-nighter in a bus. But then I had another one of those nights. It was very, very similar to the night before. I woke up at exactly 1 o'clock, at exactly 3 o'clock, and at exactly 5 o'clock. And then at 7:30. Feeling bad, either feeling cold or feeling extremely hot. Needing some kind of fever-reducing medicine or painkillers, or just needed something. And because I drink a lot of water, I had to pee. So I thought, how would this go about if I was in a bus and on the way down through Sahara? Would I be able to make the bus driver stop every second hour? This is not ideal. So I remember at my 5 o'clock stop, I said I'm not in a position. I'm not able to do that right now. This is not right. So right now I'm at the restaurant below the hotel, just having brought a wonderful breakfast, and Edvard is joining me in just a few minutes. So I have to break the news to him. This episode is brought to you in part by this website called hotels25.com. And this is a cool website. It helps you find the cheapest hotel rooms around the world. Hotels25.com. You should try it out. It actually works. So now Edvard is here at the coffee shop, and good morning.
Morning.
Isn't this breakfast nice?
This is a very nice breakfast, Palle.
Yeah.
Very different from what we usually get.
Yeah. And
normally we just get some bread and we get some butter and some jam, but today we got some bread and some butter and some jam.
And it's only 26 dirhams per person.
Ah, good.
At least that's what the sign at the hotel reception said. So I expect this counts. Now, Edvard, I had one of those horrible nights where I woke up constantly. So I need to tell you that I won't be able to get on a bus.
So you're telling me you don't want to sit on a 17-hour bus drive while you have to pee every other hour, having cold shakes and feeling like you don't want to sit on a bumpy ride?
Pretty much.
I don't understand. That would be a fun adventure, Palle. I found the solution. So yeah, I know we talked about the spiritual thing and all this, and I kind of believe that there's karma in a bit of direction there. So this morning I was on Facebook and someone posted a post about Google Flights, and I was like, oh, that's a new app. I haven't seen that before. I want to try it out and see what it is. And I looked up and I saw that there was a flight from Agadir, which is just nearby, direct flight to Dakhla, which is where we're going, 2-hour flight on Monday for 500 kroner.
So 500 kroner, that's 70, 80 euros and $70, $80.
Which is perfect.
That is just perfect.
I mean, the price difference is then 50 euros more, but we're saving 15 hours of bumpy bus rides.
Right now I would pay a lot for a direct flight.
Yeah. So we got a solution anyways.
And this is not today, this is not tomorrow, this is not even the day after tomorrow. The thing is, I thought it was Sunday today, but in fact it's Saturday.
Saturday, yeah. We had a good discussion about that. We were looking at each other like, no, Sunday, it's Saturday. I'm like, I'm pretty sure Saturday, apparently. Yesterday was the Friday prayer.
Yeah, I completely, but it's the fever. It's a fever. And it's Saturday today, and this flight is Monday. What time Monday?
It was in the evening. I think it was 7 o'clock.
Super. From Tiznit, we got down to Dakhla, in the middle of Western Sahara. It's a devilish drive of exactly 666 miles. A long drive, so I'm glad that Edvard found a cheap flight to get us down here. Dakhla is a city in Western Sahara, a disputed territory currently administered by Morocco. Dakhla has a population of a little more than 100,000, and it's built on a narrow peninsula on the Atlantic coast. For us, Dakhla was nothing more than just a stop on the road further down through Mauritania to Dakar in Senegal. We were hoping to leave the city the next day, but had a hard time finding transportation out of here. But that was okay. We both had some work to do, and we walked a bit around the city. What you're hearing here is us arranging transportation down to Nouakchott, the capital of Mauritania. Are told that a guy, named Mohammed, of course, can drive us. We agreed that he would start very early at 6 a.m. the next morning, even though Edward doesn't like to get up that early. But it's a long way, so we wanted to get a good head start. And to make sure that there were no misunderstandings, we got it all in writing on a napkin. And also we got Muhammad's phone number. We agreed on a good price, and he told us that it was a nice car, a Mercedes-Benz.
It's a taxi or what is it? Mercedes.
So we were almost looking forward to the drive, just the two of us and Mohammed in a nice big car. Well, when we come back, you can hear that not much of that turned out to happen. Before we continue, I just want to say a deep, heartfelt thank you to the people who wrote a review in iTunes or your podcast app. This means so much to me. Thank you. It's 6:15 in the morning in Dakhla in the Western Sahara. I'm eating some dry bread at the moment while we're standing here in the wind, in the morning wind, waiting for a car to take us to Mauritania. And he should have been here at 6 o'clock, and we still haven't seen sight of him. What's even more annoying is that nobody's answering the phone number that they gave us. So here we are, got up really, really early, which is not something neither of us are big fans of. So here we are, getting more and more annoyed of the car that doesn't show up. The last 48 hours, well, we left Tiznit and flew down here to Dakhla, and this is a small, quiet holiday town. And still calling?
Yeah. I'm not happy. This is really not good.
Edward, he's the kind of guy that is really not a fan of getting up early in the morning, so I'm trying to stay 10 feet away from him at the moment.
12 times I've called, texted, no answer.
Look on the bright side, at least the coffee shop's about to open. Okay, I won't say anything. Now we're hoping to get to Mauritania today. We were looking for cars, and the hotel guy said, "Well, I know of someone who can do it. If you want your own car, it's 45,000, which is beyond ridiculous." He meant 4,500. That is still way too expensive. And then he said, "There's another option, and that is that you get." Into a shared taxi with maybe 4, 5, 6 other people and share that taxi, and that will be 1,000 dirham per person. We still thought that was too expensive, so we managed to find our own private car at only 500 per person. And this is the car that we're waiting for. We made the deal yesterday at this very coffee shop and said we should meet here at 6 o'clock in the morning, and he would drive us there, and it would be 500 dirhams per person. And we got a phone number, and now it's 6:25, almost 6:30, and still no sight of him. Yeah. Now we're in a car moving towards Mauritania. Our driver never showed up, so after 2 hours we managed to get another driver, and here we are, and we even agreed on the same price, 1,000 dirhams to take us to Nouakchott, the capital of Mauritania. It's a long drive, but like Edward said, well, it's a day's work, so considering what a normal day's work is here, it's pretty okay. With Western eyes, it seems like we're underpaying, but I think we're paying an absolutely fair price for this car to take us down there. It's 8 o'clock, and maybe just maybe we'll be there before 6 or 7 o'clock tonight. We'll see. As I mentioned, Dakhla is situated on the Nara Peninsula, and it's quite obvious looking at the map that we would have to drive north in order to get to the mainland to drive us south towards Mauritania. But our driver seemed to have no sense of direction and drove south. Just a few minutes into the drive, it seemed like he stopped and asked for directions. But then again, we don't understand the local language.
We've been driving for 5 minutes. We just pulled over to ask for directions.
Just to get out of the city.
This should be interesting. Bonjour.
Bonjour.
Comment allez-vous? Vous allez à la shot ou à l'enduro?
Oh, pas vite. Je parle un peu français.
Ouais,
Anglais ou
non, français.
français?
Espagnol?
Yeah. Espagnol, no. Yeah. Shukran. We've now stopped at a cafe and he's talking to someone who then came and asked us where we're going and we said no, I should.
I don't know what the hell's going on
We
here.
have no idea what this is. It's possible that we're currently being robbed and that's what's going on. That's my half guess is that.
I'm staying with the luggage.
Yeah, I'm yeah.
We couldn't put the luggage in the trunk, so it's in the back seat with me.
Yeah. So the driver asked for the money as soon as we got in, and I thought, oh, fair enough, we can do that. I was a little bit concerned though. I was like, you know what, whatever, let's just get going. And we're now stuck here and wondering, are we gonna get that money back? But don't worry, because I'm in the car, and I'm staying in this car until we either get there or I get my money back. This is my new home.
You're handcuffed to the car.
I'm handcuffed to the car. This is my new home. Okay? Staying. How are you, Pelle?
I'm wondering what the hell's going on.
You've been a nomad for 16 months now. Is this a first for you?
This is the first, yes, yeah.
Yes, maybe he was in total control, because he was not, as we thought, the guy that was going to drive us there. Shortly after a small detour to the southern part of the peninsula, we stopped. It turned out that we were not driving in this Mercedes, but instead a 30-year-old beat-up brown Renault station wagon. And we were told that we would drive just a few minutes later, so there was time for yet another cup of coffee in the nearby cafe.
It's been quite confusing. We were picked up 2 hours too late in a Mercedes, but not the Mohammed Mercedes, and thought, okay, now we're going to Mauritania. Our driver, he asked for the money, we paid him, and then he just needed to find his way out of Dakhla, and he had to stop by the side of the road and said, "What's the way to Mauritania?" That worried us a little bit, not to be able to even get out of Dakhla. It was after 5 hours, and then we went straight south, even though that we knew that we needed to get north in order to get off this peninsula. But then we stopped at this cafe and took our bags out of the car, and now it's being filled into another car, a station wagon.
Meanwhile, through the windows we could watch our bags going on the roof of the old car, then back down. Then some water and oil tanks were taken out of the trunk, then bags back on the roof, then the tanks out again.
Tying suitcases to the roof, and I have no idea how many people they plan to fit into this car. I have a feeling that it's a lot.
Prepare to get comfortable with some locals. 10-12 hour drive.
Yeah. And you already called shotgun?
I already called shotgun, and I'm gonna fight to the death for it.
I'm the old guy, you're the young...
I will fight to the death.
It's so annoying.
Edward and I were discussing how many people they were going to cram into the car when a family and an old lady shows up. So with the driver, that would be 7 people. Would that mean 5 people in the back seat? Even though Edward called it, he didn't get shotgun. You know, the front seat beside the driver. Neither did I. That was the old lady.
Okay.
The reason they were reorganizing the trunk was because they were creating an extra row of seats. so we didn't end up being 5 people on the back seats. And the trip wasn't actually as bad as we expected.
Give me passport. You got passport?
When we got to the border of Mauritania, the old lady, sitting shotgun, remembered that, oh my god, I don't have a visa. So we would have to wait for her to get one.
You want us to come with you?
When we crossed the border, we entered a no man's land between the two borders with no road whatsoever. It was not even a sense of somebody actually drove there before. All we saw was a lot of sand, some old tires and a few burned out cars, and our driver was slowly driving through the area with the old woman talking non-stop. When we got through this area, it was time to cross into Mauritania, and we were instructed that we couldn't take any photos. In the next episode, we continue our trip further down all the way to Dakar in Senegal. Remember that you can see pictures on the radiovagabond.com, and remember that this episode is supported in part by hotels25.com. When you book a hotel room, you save both time and money. And I get a tiny commission every time you book a hotel room. So it's good for you and it's good for me. My name is Palabo, and I gotta keep moving. See ya.